Guten Abend, mein Freund. Was ist los? Wie geht's? So, in my time in grade school, I took German for 8 years because when I went to a U.S. American military school, I could speak French, and the French was not something you want to do. So it was German for me because being in America, we don't speak that francophone stuff, which is kind of cute for me. So it's all good. But anyway, as we sit here and look at U-69, we're going to, guess what, talk about the Germans or the Deutschland captains, part of the series. I'm not going to go through the other captains we talked about earlier. That's not my style. We've already talked about the other 5 set of captains you can actually have. But let's pop in the armory. Let's select German captains, one Kapitan, and go through them. So again, you have the event captains, which for me is Frederick. I got him for classic, 1500 doubloons. But the 2 main captains I talk about are the Reinhardt von Jutland and Gunther Lutens. These 2 captains are more important. This Johann Michling, I do not have him, but maybe Chick does, because apparently he's cute, so it's only 1500 doubloons, but he's an event captain that has absolutely no skill, but starts off with 10 skill set. You can also buy the same Reinhardt von Jutland from doubloons to Cole. These are both have the exact same skills. But let's start, before we go into Lutzens, we're going to start with Reinhardt. And no, it's not from the movie Blade Runner. So a couple things that are actually kind of special to this captain, and I think it's very special. I'm not going to get into the one I like the most, but first of all, consumable specialist. You're looking at destroyer, cruiser, and battleship. You know, spotting aircraft consumable, main battery, reload time for A, defensive fire, fighter consumable. These are all kind of mostly relevant to German ships, especially for fighters and spotting aircraft, especially for BBs and battleships and cruisers. But the main thing I love about this captain is the torpedo acquisition range of plus 35%. Not the typical 10 or 20%, but you can actually get an extra 35%. So you can see just about every single torpedo coming at you without hydro for 2 kilometers. It's like having a mini hydro on your battleships and on your cruisers. DDs, you should be okay, but still, it's really good. Plus, your torpedo protection gets a damage reduction of plus 7%. That can't hurt. It's pretty good. So, again, this captain's really good. You can buy them for 1500 doubloons. I use this and change it out. I'm going to go into how I change it out in a bit here, but I'll show you in a second. So going back to captains, I just got Gunther Lutens. So let's talk about what he does. So as for an aircraft carrier, improve engine boost, plus 7.5%. That's actually good. You're trying to go from point A to point B pretty quick. It makes sense. So I like it. Preventive maintenance. This is great for everything from submarines to destroyers, even battleships. I'm not saying battleships get incapacitated modes, but minus 45% is significant. It's not the typical 30%. Whatnot you get with this skill set. It's actually quite good. And then my favorite one right now, from preventive maintenance, my favorite one right now is grease the gears. You can actually improve battleship turning by 25% your main turrets. This alone is great. But I want to talk about what Gunther Lutens is famous for. So, aerial. This is all these can be activated once per battle. So, you can actually get hitting enemy 30 times with any aircraft armament speeds up the service of aircraft by 10%. This reduces your restoration of squadrons, which is great at aircraft carriers for German and Tier 6 and Tier 8. Tier 10, you have quite a bit. I mean, it's CV's at Tier 10, right? But Tier 6 and Tier 8, it's great. Tier 4, it does help, but I don't usually play Tier 4. So, secondaries. This is a godsend for battleships. Again, every time your secondaries hit the enemy 100 times in the game, your shell reduces the reload time by 15%. This is significant. It can actually shave off, a good second off a boat. So, it turns them into duck of secondaries. I love it. The next one, we'll go into main battery first. Again, reload battery. Every time you hit the enemy ships 140 times, your main battery reduces by 7.5%. By the time you get this at 140 times, usually halfway through the battle, which means you're going to get that minus 7.5%. So you're going to get a reload boost of 7.5%, Not to mention, if you take adrenaline rush, you're going to really improve your performance. You can get a battleship down from 30 seconds to 22, 23, 24 seconds from the typical battleship. And this one I absolutely love. Every time you spot 3 enemy ships in succession, so I've used this on destroyers, cruisers, even battleships, you get a actual heal. So in DDs that don't have heals, the T-61, the Gaudet, the Z series, etc., you get a heal, which is amazing. It actually makes you as a DD go find something. You don't have to engage it, but you got a heal. So it's like having a heal without having a heal, which is fantastic. So we'll go back to the captains here, and again, the last thing I'll say is this is Dasha. Again, an event captain, not exactly, nothing special, but as I've said, pick up these captains if you don't have them. If you have the coal, grab Gunther Lindsens. If you have the doubloons, the Reinhardt's the best to do. Now, part of this, just so you know, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to go through the captain skills in detail for destroyers, cruisers, battleships, etc. Just not in this series. I'm going to do it at the end of the series. One video per series. So anyway, and the last thing I want to show you is what I've been doing. I have a lot of captains. I have been deleting my captains. I'm going to do a separate video on this as well as to why I'm getting rid of my captains as well. So, and what I'm doing. So for me personally, I'm going to probably come down to only keeping my specialty captains, which is Reinhardt and going to Lindsens. For German, as I said, I'm going to have 2 captains only. I'll have them spec'd out for every type of ship that I want, depending on what I want. And it doesn't cost too much to move them if you can afford it. All right, so that's it for the Germans, and we're looking at U-69, Das U-Boot. I gotta admit, Wargaming has done an amazing job on these U-boats and on the rest of the ships. I can't wait to see the rest of them. Anyway, take care, stay safe, and auf Wiedersehen, my friend. Wie geht's?